What's going on, guys? Boss Jacoby here, back again with another competitive gaming video, and this time it's a new episode of Exposed, and to be more specific, it is the subsection Revisiting the Basics, or RTB for short. Essentially, seeing as though this is the first type of this kind of video, what RTB is it's just a small subsection rather of Exposed, where I talk about the basics of one game mode on one MLG variant map in each episode. So today, as you guys can probably tell by the gameplay, I'm going to be talking about Summit Capture the Flag. So let's get started. So first, I want to talk about grabbing the flag, and then I want to talk about your team setup, and I might branch off into where the opponents will spawn. I just want to cover this very basically, so for those guys that are just getting started or still, wondering how to play a certain map or game mode or where to set up, can just be, learn this really fast and go about your business. So when you grab a flag up top, so we're going to start with that side, you're going to be defending your flag down low by A-Dom, grabbing the opponent's flag up top by C-Dom. Essentially, you can pull the flag one of three ways. You can either pull it down rails, down summit, or right up the middle. Choosing to be aggressive and run the flag down the middle is definitely risky, but it does provide you with several more options. You can either jump through top control and run through B-Dom to orange and eventually capture the flag, or you can take the top control route all the way before jumping off and capping the flag through green. The one thing you need to watch out for in either of those two alternative routes is the opponent spawned by B-Dom stairs. If they do spawn there, you can expect running it middle to be a very difficult route, and certainly one not worth the risk, seeing as though you can run it much faster and safer down rails. Now for your team setup, your general team setup should consist of one teammate by top control, one teammate by summit computers, one teammate either in your spawn or rails side. This is somewhat of a more conservative role, and I'll talk about this player in just a moment. And then your final teammate should be the one grabbing the flag. Now that setup is effective if you decided to run the flag either rail side or middle, since your positioning prevents the opponents from spawning in either of those two locations. On the other hand though, if your team thinks summit is the best option, which many teams do, you need to transfer one teammate, preferably the teammate that was back in your spawn, to summit side, all the while maintaining your other two teammates by top control or rails, and then summit computer as well. So that's going to be your general team setup for this side. Just to briefly cover the opponent's three spawns or three possible spawns. I wouldn't really classify one as being more popular than the other, but their three spawns are either going to be in their summit shack right by their flag, bottom control, or B-Dom stairs, and it just depends where you are. If you're in one, they'll spawn in the other two. If you're in two, they'll obviously spawn in the final one. And then if you're in all three, I think they just spawn somewhere around one of the spawns, and they might spawn behind you, right in front of you, whatever it may be. But I wouldn't recommend that because it's very hard to judge, and judging the spawns is a very effective way to making sure that you can grab the flag safely and quickly. So anyways, that's it for this side. Let's go ahead and switch up to when you grab the flag down low. On this new side, I'm going to cover, like I did in the first side, where you can grab the flag and run it, also where to set up your team, and then finally finish this side off with the opponent's three most common spawns, and maybe even their fourth I'll throw in there at the end. So anyways, when you're grabbing the flag down low by A domination flag and you're defending your own flag by C dom, there are three ways, and it seems very straightforward, but I want to kind of explain the pros and cons to each. So the first one, and this perhaps is the least safe, is that you can pull straight up the middle and go top control. Now, it's very vulnerable to generator or A-Dom spawn because they can just pop out and take you out before you can ever go up those stairs. And because of that, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you have a lot of the opponents down, it might be a good idea because it's very quick and you are safe from grenades once you make it up those stairs. The next way is if you pull generator or rail side all the way, you are very safe, but you are exposed to nades because opponents can just throw it over the B-Dom building and take you out while you're running up that rail side. And you must watch out for opponents spawning either A-Dom or the sneaky opponent who got the summit spawn and decided to rush your base and wait for you. Those are two things that when you run at rails you need to definitely watch out for. And finally, when you pull the A-Dom to summit, this is definitely, in my opinion at least, the most effective route as long as you have a teammate in A-Dom and summit because if you don't, the opponents can't spawn there. If you're protected, or excuse me, you are protected from grenades, and the likelihood of the opponents rushing your base from rails and waiting for you is much less because railside is far easier to watch, and most opponents fear running there more than they do summit side. Now for the team setups, guys, it's very straightforward, but I do want to explain at least one of the teammates here. So you have one teammate top control, which is kind of like the same position as the other side. You have another teammate by summit computer, so you can already tell that these are two areas on the map that are going to be highly fought over, and whoever controls these areas will make it much easier to run a flag. So one guy top control, one guy summit computer, one guy running the flag any which way you want, just depends on where your final teammate is, and I guess I want to call him the spawn controller because depending on where he pushes up, the opponent's spawn will kind of fluctuate. So if this spawn controller goes in generator, the opponents can spawn either by summit side or A dom. Now if he goes in A dom, the opponents can spawn generator or summit, and then finally if he goes in summit, they're going to be forced to spawn in A dom or generator. So what you're going to want to do, and this is pretty important to learning how to run this map, how to play this map, is if you have this guy push up A dom, and then you had that guy, remember, originally by summit computer, that will, for the most part, under very unlikely circumstances, will the opponent spawn by that summit spawn. So this will allow your runner to run it right through A dom, down summit, won't run into any opponents off the respawn. You're protected from nades. It's not very likely for the opponents to run right up the rail side and flank you, especially with one of your teammates set up top control, which I just talked about. He'll be able to watch the opponent spawn by generator. This is the way that you want to run the flag, and as long as you make sure that you have the opponents kind of forced their spawns into the generator side, you should be okay. Now, like I've just been talking about, the three main spawns for the opponents are generator, A dom, and then summit, and if you're in all three, they will spawn somewhere around top control stairs on their side of the map. So it's going to be by A dom area, outside A dom, outside generator, somewhere in there. That's where they're going to be, because if you're in all three areas, they're just kind of forced somewhere in the middle of their base. So anyways, that's it for episode, I don't even know what episode number it is really, but this is the first installment of revisiting the basics under the name Exposed. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button of this video. I thought was a little bit more in depth than maybe my other ones. Leave a comment down below with any map or game mode that you want me to go over next, be it search and destroy, domination, capture the flag, any map you want that is in the MLG variant rotation. I'll be glad to take a look at and maybe cover in the next episode. So like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all next time. See ya.